American 077 holding short 1-2 for the landing traffic.
Miami traffic, Cactus 292, clear the runway 12, Miami traffic.
The American 077 is lining up.
Miami traffic at now 1031 for Twin Otter.
American 077 rolling runway 12.
American 2911, starting Pushback.
Hello everybody and welcome back to VFR Today. We are here on the ground at Miami International Airport, KMIA, and we're going to be taking some quick hops around here. We'll see what the area looks like. We're going down to Key West to start off, and then we'll come from Key West to somewhere else. Could be the Bahamas. It could be Miami. It could be Fort Lauderdale. It just kind of depends on what we're feeling like once we get down to Key West. But we are here on the ground today, and it's actually kind of a busy afternoon for a non-towered Miami. So no ATC online right now, but we do have plenty of folks taxiing and moving around that will be working in between. Now, we are on VATSIM for today, and we are in our beloved Twin Otter, flying a Caribbean Airlines livery, which, while not particularly realistic, we can suspend our disbelief a little bit because I like the colors, and it was between this or American Eagle, and we're gonna go with Caribbean today. So, wind at we're gonna have to run through everything, get everything set up, but wind, it's been a little gusty here on the ground at Miami, so we'll take a look at where exactly we're heading out. But it's a very simple route today, down to Key West. I'm going to start by closing all the doors to avoid what happened last time out, which was a little bit of a mess departing out of DCA. Flight controls coming away, and let's get the checklist up and ready to go. So I did fire it up. I've been listening to Unicom just for a little bit before the flight. I find that helps, especially on towered airports, to gauge where we should be going, because that can be a bit more art than science, especially in a untowered situation. A parking brake is set. It's pulled out. Fuel selection all normal. Our radios are on. We're on external power. Cabin lights are okay for now. It is a little cloudy, so we'll see how that goes. Pitot heat, come back, is in the off position. Generator switch is off. Flaps are up. Prop lever can go full forward. Ignition's in normal. Battery master, we got power going in. We're on external power now. We can go over to battery if we so choose. Position lights.
Argentina 1031, taxi to runway 08 right.
Now, fuel quantity for today's flight. Well, let's just get weight and balance all set up. We'll try and get weight and balance all set up. We're going to take just a little bit more fuel than we normally probably do. And we'll take it just a little bit less. Payload will still be pretty close to max takeoff weight, but we'll take... So it's a pretty full flight, but we got some light passengers in here too. So lights are on. Fuel quantity. Payload is loaded. Flight plan. Flight plan for today is exceedingly simple. We are flying out to Manate, which is a waypoint out off the Florida coast. Then we're going to turn in towards the Key West.
Just wait there with Saku.
Argentina 1689.
So clearance,
we're
going to give ourselves clearance, assuming there's still no one on line controlling us, and there is not. So we'll give ourselves clearance via that route. We're going to fly at 10,000 feet today. Doors are all closed, and we'll just double check that one, because that does help. All right. One last check looking at the airport. If we pull up our charts, we can look at Miami. We're not on a SID. We're just going straight out, direct out to the south. We are down here at Gulf.
Miami traffic, Skycube 4515 heavy, the northeast cargo. Going to push and start taxi 8 right, Miami.
So they're going 8 right. The wind at Miami right now is... So here's the chart. Wind at Miami right now is basically... Let's go over to my airports. Miami, we've got 140 at 8 knots. So it's not insurmountable to go off of. We could go off of 8 or runway 9 down here. Or one of the 8 left and 8 right. Which, if we plug that in, gives us a decent 6-knot crosswind. But it keeps 12 free for landing traffic. or we can just go on to 12, which will give us a little bit less, a 2-knot crosswind. Now, before I was getting ready, it seemed like most people were going to 12, but a few guys, especially coming out from the north, are going to go into 8 left and 8 right. So I think we're still going to plan to go to 12 and just keep an eye on the departures and arrivals into Miami. Okay, so getting ready. We're going to push on back and get started. We're going to need pushback helper. We're going to use our little mini tug here, and then we will push back and basically behind us to the left and keep some of these areas clear. No other big jets in the way right now, which is pretty good. So thanks for coming along on this Friday afternoon. We're going to hopefully, it could end up being some interesting weather. There's some rain over the out to the west that may blow in as we do this, but we will see. And once they are hooked up, we'll take a parking brake off and start coming back. Good. We'll turn on the brake engine. And try and hit the right buttons. We have got plenty of room to maneuver, but not too bad. Again, we're here at Gulf at Miami. There are a few other folks around, which is nice, but no tower or ground as of now. So we'll stop that. We'll put our parking brake on. Get them out of the way. Starting left engine now. Up to about 15%. Good fuel, and away we go. All right, so now time to figure out where we're actually going to taxi. If we go back to our chart.
Now 1031, enter runway 08 right, Miami traffic.
So they're going 8 right, which is kind of off to the other side. We're at Gulf. Really, I think we're going to go... Papa. So if we come off here, Papa kind of goes off this way, and then Papa Quebec 2.
Miami traffic, American 1911, taxing to runway 08 right.
So they're going 8 right. And, I mean, we'll just do our best to deconflict. But, and also if there's anyone coming in. It doesn't look like there is. So we're going to head out Papa, and then basically Papa, well, we'll do Papa Quebec 1, kind of here at the inset. We'll go to the hold point for 8 right and 1-2. I guess we'll hold there and then go from there. So very simple today. We're going to push off a Gulf. We're going to taxi via Papa to to runway 12. All right, enough graphs and charts.
Argentina 1031, takeoff from runway 28 right, Miami traffic.
Miami traffic, Caribbean 686 taxiing to runway 12 via Papa, Miami traffic. All right. Parking brake can come off. Taxi lights can come on. We will go ahead and start getting configured. We'll hit our auto feather button, armed, and anti-ice I'm not anticipating, but we'll see how low these clouds are. If we start getting into the clouds, we might hit it on just in case. We'll probably definitely turn window heat on. That way I can see no matter what. Alright, so we can look at now, start looking at before takeoff here. While we're taxiing, trim tab. Takeoff. And then Papa should be this one right here. And I wish I could cycle between the map and checklist faster in some Toolkit Pro. Yeah, so we're going to come here, Papa, and basically it's going to be off to the right. So we're going to come here and then just bear right a little bit at this intersection. See, we got that big jet over there. That appears to be it's an A340 heading into TNCM. I'm not familiar with my smaller airports down, or my airports down there, so I'm not really sure where that is. Other things that need to happen. Pitot heat, come on. Generators can come on. And we'll put on all of our lights and fasten seatbelts and no smoking and all that as well. And now it's thanks to velocity, everyone can see us swerving around while I do all my takeoff checks, so that's always helpful. So the big A340, there's going to be basically a hold point down there at the end of the taxiway that we can go to.
American 1911, taking up runway to right.
And that's American 1911, also to NCM. I don't know why I'm just losing taxi power here.
Argentina 1698, taxi runway 08 right.
And then we're just going to bear right a little bit here. We're going to zip past the well, we're going to try and zip past the A340. If we can. That's Papa. Sometimes it's hard to tell when those big jets are moving. Once they get rolling, they're stately. Okay. So we are now well on our way. We can finish our before takeoff checks. Our radio is set. We're on Unicom. Trim tab is set. Flight instruments are checked and good. Prop lever full forward. Auto feather lights are on. Flaps will go 10 to 20 degrees. Not that we really need to. Pitot heat is on. Anti-ice, we will put it on the climb if we need it. Transponder, we will go ahead and squawk VFR. And then once we're ready to take the runway, we'll turn our landing lights on. Now on departure, we're just going to fly runway heading until we basically turn in towards that GPS waypoint. It's not going to be very complicated. And we'll just kind of...
Traffic, Skykeep 4515, crossing runway 8 left. Takeoff runway 8 right, Mojito 1 departure. Miami.
So that's that airplane right there, going on to 8 right. We are going to go ahead and pull up short of 1-2. I did see there's a message from GTI 764 looks like they're coming in runway 12. So they're at top of descent. They're not as big a problem as I thought. Go ahead and just hold short. What? All right. Well, that's 2 for 2 today. I don't know what happened there. We damaged our landing gear. Maybe we're going too fast. Try to turn. Not sure there. Interesting. Well, stand by with us. We will get this loaded back up, and yeah, we'll get ready to go. Damage our landing gear. Interesting. Okay. So we'll go ahead and get it reset back up. Again, I'll have to watch that back and see what happened. But second time, it seems like it's only when we're streaming on VATSIM that this kind of goes wrong like that. All right. We'll go to it. We can go to external power, DC master on. Just get everything programmed in. So flight plan. We are going to Kilo. Mike. India. Alpha. And then we'll plug in MNATE. ATE. And then Key West. AE Key W. West International. Okay. Flight plan is all set up. Let's get back on Unicom. One, two, two, 8. We'll try that again. Okay. So that's all set and all good. Parking brake is on. We're not going to run the full checks, but we are going to turn on our position light, seatbelt signs. And that will be good for now. Okay. So let's go over to battery power and get ready to start up. And I also have to set up our fuel, weight, and balance. And some odd behavior here. Since we're getting not a percentage. So we've got a little bit of fuel in the aux tanks and mostly full in the back. Again, we were going to runway 12, and we're going to continue to do that. Let me just make sure my flight plan is still filed. And check back in on the live map and see what's going on. So last time we did it via Papa. We're going to try and do it again via Papa. And we're going to do our best to get off runway 12. We'll probably go Quebec 1. There. Okay, so everything's set up here. Boost pumps can go on. Our position lights are on. We'll just go all the way lit up with anti-collision 2 as we get ready to start engines. That's the right engine coming up. We'll give it a little bit of fuel. Sounds like a good start. And we'll give it the left engine now. It's 10, 15%. We'll get some fuel. We'll also make our props pull forward. And check behind us before we go ahead and power on back. Looking good there, so let's give it a little bit of back power. Generators can come on. Heat can come on. Taxi light can come on, and we'll start working on flaps. Alright, so that's off. Oh, we'll try and do it with the tug then. Pushback helper to the rescue. They've got us locked in pretty tight on the stand. That is all right. Tug, come in. We'll go ahead and reverse it back. Well, that's quite odd behavior, if I do say so myself. All right, so something's not right here. Let's shut this down and try and restart this. Hang on one sec. We're going to get ready to. We're going to restart this whole thing and reload in from a fresh save. All right, welcome back. I think third time's gonna be the charm here. Let's just reset and get back going. So, external power. Well, we'll leave it off. DC master, and we'll just go straight on battery since we're getting out of here. We are at Miami. KMIA. Thankfully, it's not a very long flight plan. MIA. And then it is, if I remember correctly, Manate, M, N, A, T, E, And Key West. Okay. And if we do enough pushing, we might just get to go flying today. Key, and then a W. Alright, Key West. Alright, so we'll take away the flight controls. Parking brake is on. We do have control of the airplane here, so that's good. We have, let's set up fuel. 87%, that's pretty good. We're just going to put a little bit more fuel in the tanks, 80%. And just back the weight and balance off just a smidge. Alright, so that's fuel, weight and balance. We'll put our position lights on, snow smoking, fasten seatbelt on. We're going to get this one of these days. Everything else is fine for now. Alright. Then we can go ahead and turn on our boost pumps. And prop levers forward. And I think we're ready to start our right engine. So right engine's starting up. While they do that, I'm going to punch in our new, we're going to go back to Unicom. 2.8. And get logged in on VATSIM. So they're going. We'll get some fuel. And away we go.
Miami traffic, American 1039, taxiing runway 8 right, Miami.
That's fuel. Is the weather change? 1507. No, not really. Okay. Generators can come on. We'll put taxi lights, pitot heat on, anti-collision, all the lights on. And, yeah, well, I'll do this before we're rolling. Takeoff trim. Anything that you have to look down to do. It's good to do before you're moving. And, we can hit flaps on the roll. Alright, so that's pretty good. Let's power back. So I think the problem was they had 2 pushback helper windows open, which wouldn't help. We're going to come back to the right. And that's pretty good. Okay. We'll release the tug. We'll just close that window. Okay. So, boost pumps are on. Everything is programmed in. We can go ahead and squawk VFR. Alright. And then just one quick look at the map again to see where everybody is at. We're going to probably go to 1-2, which is the crossing runway here at Miami. A lot of the big jets are using 8 right, and I don't know how much of that is peer pressure from everyone else doing it, or whatever else. But we're going to go runway 1-2 because there's not a ton of people coming in. We do have one airplane taxiing to the runway on Mike on the other side of the terminal. So let's go ahead and make our radio call. Miami traffic, Caribbean 686. We're taxiing to runway 12 via Papa. Alright, then Papa, we're going to just basically hook a right here and then another right. stay right, and then hopefully avoid the black hole or whatever we hit taxiing in. We'll probably stay on the lines going to Quebec. Quebec 1. We'll evaluate once we get down. There's on the chart there's a hold point, which would they'd probably tell us to taxi to. All right. We are on our way. Thanks for coming along here on a Friday afternoon or evening stream, wherever you are from. And we are flying around Florida tonight, so should be some good scenery. Miami's usually a pretty busy place, especially on Bad Sim. And Key West is fun too. The airplane out there looking like I think they're taking 8 right. That's an American 737-800 going up to Washington Dulles. Oh no, that's the one. Looks like that's the one behind. Nope, that's going to Houston, IAH, not IAD. So that's a 737 going to Houston, and then an American looks like 757 going up to Boston behind it. And we'll just do our best to stay out of their way. So warnings are out. We can
Miami traffic, American third, 1039 departing runway 8 right, Miami.
Alright, so we'll go ahead and put our flaps down. We can light up our auto feather. Flight plan is programmed in. We will set our heading bug to the runway, which is going to be 12 or thereabouts. And we'll hold that heading basically till we're out of the airspace, and then we'll go from there. We're going to be cruising at 10,000 feet today into Key West. So thanks for coming along. Hope you enjoy the show, and I'm going to be a little more careful coming down the line here. And then the real question is, yeah, we might dip onto Quebec and go that way. Just to avoid taxiing across that same patch. And there goes the American 737. That's American 1039 for Houston, I believe. Just a little paranoid if you're just joining us. We are back on the road. We had another Twin Otter crash in the sim, probably user error. Landing gear was destroyed, taxiing to runway 12. Not sure how that happened, but yeah, probably user error, but we'll have to watch back. There goes that 757 right in trail. Right. Then once we get out onto the runway, we'll just make sure it's right. Runway, we're going the right way, 12. We will climb up. We'll just basically climb up to our final altitude of 10,000. And then just give the map a quick look. Give the frequency, check vPilot, make sure no one's coming in on 12 imminently. Which is, again, we're just trying not to get in any of the big jet's way. I don't see anyone on final on Sim Toolkit Pro. So we're going to go ahead and take the runway here. Miami traffic, Caribbean 686. We're taking runway 12, departing out to the south, Caribbean or Miami. So easy to say your call sign. Someone did it earlier, and I just did it there. Alright, so we've got flaps in the 10 to 20 range. Auto feathers on. Our engines are on. We're squawking VFR. We've got our flight plan programmed again. We're going to hold runway heading and just kind of climb out. And once we judge we're kind of clear about all the activity around Miami, we'll go ahead and turn. We'll make a right turn, which will take us south. Alright, so we'll just give it some power. We're going to set port pressure 45 or so. Not going all the way to the red line, but pretty high. That's 80 knots right there. And we're lifting up and away. Flaps can come up. And we can disarm the auto feather. Last thing, just get trim set up and going. Miami traffic, Caribbean 686, we're climbing through 600. We're clear runway 12, departing out to the south. Miami traffic. And we're flying across downtown Miami now. It's a pretty nice departure. And we're just getting up some speed. I'm not, we're in Florida, it's real low everywhere, so we're not in any real crunch to get up high, but so heading mode we will turn on. We'll go ahead and do that. Altitude, vertical speed will go 1,600 feet. Oops. It's a little clunky with this setup right in front of you. Altitude. So we've set our altitude now, vertical speed can come up. We can climb out real fast, 2,000 feet per minute. Now at this point I'll also throw our anti-ice on, just in case we get in there. Not worried about any of the ice routes.
Giant 6764, 11-mile ILS, final runway 12.
We're going to make a right-hand turn. Go 210. And we are away. Thanks for coming along with us. Thanks for bearing with us as we get out of Miami. Just a little behind schedule, but not too bad, all things considered. Turn our windshield heat on as well. Yeah, bring that back up to 10,000 feet. Little bit of oscillation in the autopilot, probably making the passengers a little queasy. Not loving this. Okay, let's take control, let it damp out, and go back in. Alright, so, next thing up. We can go direct. And Nate.
Miami traffic.
And we can turn it over to nav.
6 beginning pushback from FedEx. Taxi Kilo 1.
Okay, we're going to take control from the autopilot because it's not liking this. The autopilot really gets squirrely when you get slow in the Twin Otter. That is the one big thing. It does not like to be slow, and it will be hard to manage if you get too slow. So let's let the speed come back up just a smidge. Bump our speed back up. 10,000 feet. And then we'll start a more gentle ascent. stalling out. Okay.
Miami traffic, Giant 764, 5 mile ILS.
So we'll do some hand
final
flying in the Twin Otter today.
Miami.
Good fun. So yeah, it's still, I think it's working as intended. It's just, yeah, a bit finicky. But hey, that's all part of flying it. And we're going to be following that real soft magenta line out to the south. Yikes.
Ground FedEx 826, ready for pushback.
Alright, the last thing, CDI, that's your problem. That GPS button always gets me. Okay. So as usual, user error, but that's okay. Climbing up, we'll get about 1,000 feet per minute on departure here. And away we go. At this point, we can follow our CDI pretty nicely. We'll go ahead and give this one more try. Alright, we are on our way. Head back to our checklist, and after takeoff and the climb, flaps are up, auto feather is off, climb power is set. We'll be riding 10,000 feet, we'll probably leave landing lights on, and we are climbing 110 knots is a good speed for us. We'll stop the autopilot from stalling itself out. So flight time today should be just over a half hour down to Key West. Not very far, about 100 nautical miles.
Miami traffic, Giant 764, vacated runway 12. Miami.
In the cruise, we'll be setting cruise power. We'll come back on the RPM just a smidge. Autopilot is set, and we will probably leave seatbelt signs on after that climb out for everybody's safety. We're on our way out to the Florida Keys. And some more Twin Otter action. Still enjoying the Twin Otter. It is fun. Been doing some more CRJ flying this week too, which has been fun. We're getting ready for the Dulles event tomorrow, which is Never Dull at Dulles, I think. Whatever the VAT USA VATSIM event. We'll probably try and fly in. I don't know if we'll stream it or just do a regular video streaming it. Well, it's not the Twin Otter, so we haven't crashed something that's not the Twin Otter. But we'll give that a try. So Dulles, and then in CRJ, and then it's been Australia, flying around Australia, which has been really fun. It's, again, not a place I've flown a ton. I've flown a little bit. But it's a huge, huge area to fly. And it is a lot of fun. I think there's been a lot of excitement around the sim update, more so than some others. And again, it's just really interesting. It is funny that none of the handcrafted airports that come with it are anywhere close to the points of interest, but so you have to work a little bit for that kind of synergy. But so yeah, we've been flying around the Australian bush a little bit too, trying to figure that out, and then yeah, exploring some other Twin Otter skydiving techniques, which will be in a video coming relatively soon. Looking at more how they really use Twin Otters in that kind of situation. The skydiving patterns that they fly are very interesting. It's a really interesting discipline of flying. The jump pilots, they do a lot of quick turns, It's really very different from the point-to-point stuff we're doing here. It's really kind of pattern work, but extreme. Climbing up to 15,000 feet and then back down in 15 minutes. So it is good fun. So that's all to come. But yeah, for today, we're just trying to escape the bad weather of further north and east and west and really everywhere. And head on down somewhere sunny to the Florida Keys. So thanks for coming along. Thanks for sticking with us as we get out. And our Twin Otter woes continue, but hey, we'll get it one of these days. Now, we have visited this kind of area before. I think why you should fly CJ4. We flew down here. Ocean Reef Club is kind of right off of our, I believe it's right off our left here. It's in this isle, this reef. So it is a fun, interesting place to fly. It is very flat. Florida tends to be pretty much the whole way through, which is unique in its own way. Now, we are going to be flying into Key West. Key West is a relatively simple airport. No stars or anything like that. If we pull up Key West. Key West Airport, it's one runway, basically runway 9, 27, so it's an east-west runway. And we've got an RNAV for 27, we got an RNAV for runway 9. Based on the wind, that's assuming it's the same as it is at Miami. But why assume when we can pick it up? Key West International Airport. Wind is 100 at 6, so yeah, we're going to be running runway 9 into Key West, which means we'll be taking the RNAV approach for runway 09, which is going to take us kind of out past the airport and then back around. So while we're sitting here, all nice and set up, I'm going to go over to heading mode before I start messing with flight plans and anything. But procedures, our approach is going to be the RNAV 09, and they give me a choice. Is it Sting? I could get Sting, Strap, or Chet's. I think we're going to take Chet's, just based on the chart. Load that in. And now that should take us kind of out to the north of the airport and back around. Now, if we talk through it, again, it's really not rocket science. We're going straight to the initial approach fix at Chet's. Then we're going to Atnaw, Busby, and then runway 09. Missed approach is Burpee. We're going to climb to 3,000 feet, go direct Burpee, and then track to Goosel and hold. So again, not rocket surgery out there. So thanks for coming along. Hope you're having a good Friday. It has been a fun week, I think, at Flight Sim. Exploring new places, trying to do some new flights. But yeah, the Twin Otter flying is a little rusty. At least in the commuter sense. But again, it is kind of a fun plane to do pattern work in, or to do these jump flights. It's really well set up for all that. It's the Skydiver version. It's a lot more fun than I thought it would be, when you kind of know what to look for in those kinds of flights. We are out flying out to the Florida Keys under a Caribbean call sign. This livery, nice, from flightsim.to. Again, we're suspending a little bit of disbelief. They fly into the U.S. a few places, Miami, JFK, but they're not really flying small commuter planes like this around the Florida area. But I didn't really want to be looking at American Eagle all day, so this is what we're going with. It didn't feel on brand for Delta, or I don't know. What we really need is some retro, Twin Otter, anything really. It could be fictional, but some retro liveries. Because again, like the heyday of the Twin Otter for commuter flying really is gone. They don't really fly them that much anymore. There are other airplanes they use for this kind of work, including the King Air, which we also have. But it would be fun to have some nice retro liveries that we could use. So we are in the cruise now, 10,000 feet. Direct M8, and then once we hit M8, we will turn right, basically out to our arrival into Key West. We're basically going to fly up the islands, following the islands out to Key West. So not going over too much open ocean. Heading down to the Conquer Public. There are some other fun flights we can do around here. Key West, once we get down to Key West, there's a number of islands that we can go to if we're looking at... Let's pull up Sky Vector and just see. We have Key West. We're going to fly basically over Marathon. From there, you could make a short jump to Cuba. We could fly back. We'll probably fly back to Miami. And then, or Fort Lauderdale, possibly, depending on what everything is else. And then you have some options. We could go up to the Bahamas. Out in Nassau. Or a few of those other islands, kind of out to the east of Miami. We could go out to Freeport. Or we could fly out, we could go the other way, out west to the Gulf Coast at Naples or Fort Myers, or something like that, across Florida that way. I guess the third option would be flying up the coast, somewhere like Vero Beach. But lots of interesting, and these airports usually pretty interesting down in this area, especially on the islands. Key West, it's not huge. It's a nice view and approach, definitely. We are 12.7 miles now from M8. And then basically we're going to fly towards the airport, but we're going to go basically straight to Chet, which is going to be our initial approach picks. And then we'll fly the RNAV into Key West. It's also a pretty low. We've got Atna 1,500 feet, Busby 1,500 feet, and then down to runway 09. So used to seeing a lot of up at 6,000 or 3,000 feet, depending on where you are in the U.S. You're going to be coming in pretty low into Key West. Now, again, wind or weather, 100 at 6 knots, temperature 24 degrees Celsius. That's pretty balmy in Fahrenheit. Altimeter 3011. or 1020 for the hectopascal folks. Visibility 10. So it looks like a pretty nice day in Key West still. On the live weather map, there was a little bit of rain inland, off to our right, but it seems to have dissipated. Just some scattered showers, but if we look up the coast, there's really a couple of bands of rain, really, throughout the southeast U.S. that we're really not flying around. So the sun and fun goal has worked out here. Alright, so we're going to make sure we're back into nav mode as we approach our waypoint now. 7.1 miles. The airplane's going to bank back to get on to course. It is just really, yeah, it's really, for a very flat place, it is very unique kind of for flying scenery. And the satellite imagery and just the way Microsoft Flight Simulator brings it to life really does this area a lot of justice, I think. Water looks great. All sorts of fun stuff. And we're basically just going to follow the islands. They're going to turn kind of off to the right, and we're going to follow that up into Key West. So thanks for coming along here on our VFR Friday flight out to Key West. We departed out of Miami about 20 minutes ago. And we're now on our way out to Key West. So fun facts about Key West, it's the southernmost city in the contiguous United States. And, yeah, was the site of Harry Truman's Winter White House, which is interesting. Nicknamed the Conch Republic. Known for beaches and warm weather. You know, your typical Florida island stuff. Now, we are flying into Key West Airport. There is a military airport, Key West Naval Air Station, Boca Chica Field, which is kind of right. We'll see it as we're coming in, or hopefully not going around, but we will see. Key West is a pretty simple airport, one runway, elevation 3 feet, and we're going to be coming on runway 9 unless the winds change significantly. Looking at the area, we are not completely alone on VATSIM. We have November 515 Mike Hotel, which is SR-22 Cirrus into Key West. And it looks like we also had a TBM 900 number 511 Echo Mike, which just departed. Right, so the airplane now is doing something. We'll go ahead and activate the approach. And then see if that helps. So we are now flying basically to the east, which is not going to help us. Let's take heading mode in and just turn right. And then we'll get this all set up. So Twin Otter, you gotta really be ready to put it in heading mode and deal with whatever your GPS is doing. But hey, that's why flying RFR in these kinds of GA airplanes is challenging, because there's a lot going on, and you've got this little screen. You don't have an FMS designed to do this every day, all the time for you. All right, we're just gonna keep it on coming, turning out to the west, and then we will. We'll get configured. Again, visually, we can fly this visually if we need to. We're flying out just basically up these islands. Key West is going to be at the very end. Time to start fumbling. So we need to go basically activating, and we've got a magenta line again. So we're going to go to Chet's. Following that, still on my direct to page. But we'll keep it coming on down. And now our CDI is looking right. So a little bit of fumbling around, but we're going to get there. We are heading on down to Key West, 10,000 feet. Again, we're going to hit basically Chet's. We'll get down to about 1,500 feet. For the RNAV approach to runway 09. Still have about 70 miles to go, so we'll start thinking about coming downhill once we hit maybe 45 or so. For now, we just want to enjoy the scenery. Fuel looking pretty good. We're still at about 900 pounds in both tanks. There's no issues there. We're at 10,000 feet. At a ground speed 162 nautical miles per hour. Thanks for coming along. If you're just joining us, we are departed out of Miami. We are heading down to Key West International Airport, which is KEYW. We're going to be shooting the RNAV for runway 09 into Key West. Decent wind, not too bad, but we're going to basically be basically pretty well set up when we get in there. Wind to Key West, runway 09. We're going to have maybe a 1 knot crosswind, which will be good. Looking at descent, we'll just have to check fuel. And, yeah, we probably don't need anti-ice anymore, but we'll leave everything else lit up. About 70 miles to go to Chet's, which is going to be the first waypoint, our initial approach fix into Key West. We'll basically fly along the north side of the island, turn left, and we'll be at an altitude of 1,500 feet. come in to land on runway 09. Now, I do have some custom scenery for Key West. It's one of the few ones that I have. Got it because it was like $3 on sale. It's okay. It's pretty good, but it does have some nice signage, which we'll see on our turnaround into Key West. So yeah, if you're looking to escape your snow or rain or whatever you got going on in your area, come on to Key West with us. We'll pop it over into nav mode and let it sort itself out. Does make a rather aggressive turn. So, yeah, Twin Otter autopilot can be a little ham-fisted, but so can its operator, I suppose. And we'll just let it settle out here. We're at 10,000 feet. Again, 45 miles out, we'll probably start our descent into Key West. And the weather's pretty much perfect for it. Alright, checking out the live map. We'll see if the situation has changed. Just a little bit of traffic in and around Key West. But mostly general aviation stuff at the moment. Miami was pretty busy. We'll be heading back that way. And we can start thinking about what we're going to do when we're coming into Miami. I am not sure. West into Miami. And a DHC-6-2. And then it's saying we are going Perso 5 into Miami. So in the Twin Otter, what I got to do is basically look up whatever it gives me for an approach. And make sure that it does not have the words turbojet only on it. Jet aircraft only. Perso 5. Let's check FlightAware. FlightAware is another good resource for this. Sandbar 1 is what a lot of guys are coming in. They also come in on Duval 3. So the RNAV Sandbar 1 is jet aircraft only. And the Duval 3 appears to be the one we're going to be using. So yeah, we'll basically come out of Key West and really be on it. Carnu, Duval, and then fly that into Miami. Let's see if SimBrief is telling us runway 12. Yes, it is. Okay. So expecting runway 12 into Miami. We will, in the Duval approach, we'll basically climb out of Key West and be on it just about the whole way. So thanks for coming along with us on this lazy Friday flight here in Florida. Nice sunny Florida at Key West Airport. We'll be turning around at Key West, taking it back to Miami, which could be more lively. There's a fair amount of traffic in at Miami. No ATC at the moment. We do also have Fort Lauderdale Tower, so that's an option if we want to do another flight somewhere. The 10,000. We're now doing 176 knots, so we're putting down some good speed. 50 miles. Out to Chet's. Which again is going to just take us out past the runway. We'll loop back around and on in. Caribbean Airlines today. When I get a chance to update it, I'll put the delivery link in the flight in the comments or in the description. Flightsim.to. A lot of good Twin Otter stuff nowadays. It's always good to see. Just looking for some retro commuter ones. If we get some retro commuter ones, doesn't even have to be real. I'd take some fictional ones, like a fictional American Eagle. Really like the like that CRJ one that with the red, white, and blue stripes. That would be pretty good on a Twin Otter too, I think. So we still have fuel in our tanks. We're cruising along here. Things are pretty much in line with what we should be. And you can just start to see that's the Navy base, or the Navy Air Station. Coming into view now on our GPS. We'll be basically flying past it. And out to Key West. So 48 miles, we'll start thinking about our descent now. I'm going to set up basically a base altitude of 2,000 feet. We need to be at 1,000 feet once we pass, or 1,500 once we pass Chet's. We'll go ahead and do that. But for now, 2,000 feet, we'll descend on down to that. In no great rush. Bring the power back just a smidge, but keep our speed up. Descending at 1,000 feet per minute. So it takes about 8 minutes to get down there, so we really have plenty of time. And we can use this descent to also pick up our speed a little bit. 182 knots now. As we come downhill to Key West, I'll bump it up just a smidge, 800 feet. It's a really nice scenery, really fun place to fly. Key West, another good place to bring a CRJ or another regional jet or the regional aircraft of your choice. It's one of those smaller airports that gets a lot of traffic. I think today I was looking, there's 3 or 4 flights of E-jets going into Key West. So again, if you're looking for one of those high traffic, smaller airports, Key West is probably up there. Downhill. We are still on Unicom 122.8. And not very busy on VATSIM out here as far as I can tell. So far, so good. Once we got off the ground in Miami, it's been a pretty good flight. And tomorrow, we'll be doing something for the Dulles event, which is tomorrow evening, I believe, where they'll be staffing up Dulles and flying in. We might try, we'll see, if we'll just depart out of Dulles or try and do a turnaround there. Turnaround takes a little bit of forethought because you just got to start beforehand. But if you can pull it off, it is fun. A fun way to do an event. Just bring lots of fuel and be ready to wait for a bit. But we do have Flight Beam IAD, which is another good scenery, one of the few paywares that I have on this system, so you got to take advantage of them when they staff it up like that. And then, yeah, probably some more exploration in the Twin Otter. Maybe take the Twin Otter down under. Not sure where next flights should be. Australia as a country doesn't really lend itself to this kind of Twin Otter commuter flying just because it's not. I mean, there's a few places, but generally speaking, the larger cities are pretty spread out, so Twin Otter would take a while. We're still 7,400 feet. As we come on downhill into Key West. We should basically fly past the island, loop to the left. Once we start our turn basically to the left, we'll go down to 1,500 feet. Then line up for the RNAV into runway 09. And if we pull that back up, so again, really simple. We're heading out to Chet's now, and then we will basically hit can't remember what it is, Atnaw, and then Bus B, 1,500 feet. That's going to be really where we start our descent down to the runway, and we can see it pretty well visually, so not too much concern there once we get through this layer of clouds. Some fairly low, fairly large clouds, though. All things considered. As we are descending into Key West. More Twin Otter fun. So yeah, Dulles. That'll probably be some CRJ work. Did some practices, especially dusting off the. It's always good to dust off your missed approach procedures, which is so did some flying around there. I may try to do some West Coast flying too. We will see. We'll see what all is staffed up, but CRJ is good for a lot of those areas. There's a lot of CRJs running around. Water looks great. Really nice approach. Very nice approach to Key West. All right, so we can let's start looking at our before landing checklists. Fuel quantity, we're good. 800 pounds in both tanks. Caution lights are appropriate. Anti-ice is off, except for windshield heat. Should be fine. It's 20 degrees C out here. Altimeter is 3011, according to the latest METAR. The 3011. Seatbelt signs should still be on. We'll turn. We haven't turned landing lights off from our takeoff, and the arrival has been briefed. No ILS here, so we're going to be basically just flying the RNAV down to the runway. And, yeah. Fairly simple approach. No real drama here in the weather. We got some airships over here. Or balloons of some kind. Fairly interesting. Wonder if that's added with the scenery. We can even come in just a little bit leaner. Key West is going to be off our left. The inside, really just at the tip of this chain of islands. It looks like we do have see if we have company at the ground at Key West. We'll keep an eye out on our messages and on Unicom. Make sure everyone knows we're around. As we come on downhill. Descending now through 3,900 or 2,000 feet. We've still got plenty of ways to go to the waypoint, which is Chet's. And we're making a decent ground speed, 178 knots. Which will help. It's a lot more gloomy below the clouds. I think we saw that in Miami too. But busting out above them, it's pretty nice. There is some rain just off to the left. I think just north of Key West, but we'll see if that's replicated in the sim. Get over here, we have Boca Chica Field, and then just behind those clouds we'll have Key West International Airport. As we come on downhill, thanks for coming along on this. Was a sunny flight until we got down here. It's a little darker now, but still good. And we'll just see if there's any weather updates. 100 at 8 knots. Got scattered clouds till 3011, so no change to the weather except for these clouds. And as we come abeam of the airport, we'll go ahead and probably make our first call. Something like our altitude coming in for RNAV, runway 9, direct jets. And that's the altitude capture. We're looking at 2,900 feet. And then once we hit Chet's, we'll head on down to 1,500 feet at Atnaw. Key West traffic, Caribbean 686, we're type Twin Otter, descending through 2,800 for 1,500 on the RNAV runway 09, Key West traffic. And there it is, off to our left. We've got some boats, we've got some buildings. And the airfield is going to be kind of on the south side of the island. done. The other thing to think about is going to be our speed. We're coming in fairly hot, 160 knots. We'll have to reduce that down to 100 or so. But we should have plenty of time on once we turn around onto approach. The runway is a bit up the island that way, if memory serves. And the approach will take us a little ways past that. So thanks for coming along. We are about to hit our approach into Key West. Once we get down on the ground at Key West, we will turn around and head back up to Miami International Airport in our trusty Twin Otter. Good fun in flight. No ATC so far, but it's been fairly busy, which is always nice. Always good to have folks online, even if it is an untowered situation. It goes a long way to helping out with the immersion. And we're about onto chats. And you can see just how much time we're going to have to kind of get on speed and get configured. Now, in the real world, Key West, that's the towered airport, so we'd be talking to air traffic control. But for now, they have given us the authority to control ourselves, which is always dangerous. All right, we're coming up on 2,000 feet now. It's going to capture altitude as we go the last 3 or so miles to Chats. And again, we should have plenty of room to run up to run down our speed, get all configured. Now it's worth refreshing descent and approach. Fuel's still good, 800 pounds. We'll probably go flaps 10 to 20 and shoot for an approach speed of 80 knots. Or even a little higher. Proper PM will be full forward. And we will be set up at 1,500 feet until we hit bus speed. So we're captured. We're going to go ahead and set that now for 1,500. And then once the Otter captures this next waypoint, we will begin our descent now down to that final altitude. Again, just sneaky kind of low clouds, sneaky bad weather if you're flying VFR. It would be a little tricky. We got big clouds at 2,000 scattered. And that is our cue to go ahead and go down to 1,500 at Atnaw. And it looks like our navigation is behaving. It's always helpful in this situation. And hopefully that last little bit of last little altitude on that 500 feet should get us hopefully out of these clouds. Now we're going to stay at 1,500 through Atnaw and then to Busby. Once we hit Busby, we'll start our descent down to the runway. If you're just joining us, we're coming into Key West International Airport. We departed Miami about 45 minutes ago. And we're coming into Key West now. Untowered operations for the moment. We did have a couple of general aviation friends buzzing around. Looks like they've packed it up. But Miami's usually fairly busy, no matter what. So come here, it doesn't look like it, but this is a very nice sunny flight. Come escape whatever snow or rain or winter weather, or for the Australians' case, summer weather that you might be dreading, and come on down to Key West. Coming up on Atnaw now, 1 mile. We'll make that final left-hand turn for Busby, and then we'll just fly down to the runway. But some sneaky conditions here. These low scattered clouds, pretty thick. Would be a challenge for VFR. So it's a good thing we have our flight planned. Alright, we're making the final turn now for get set up on 09. We're 1,500 feet. About 150 knots indicated. But really, once we hit Busby is when we're going to start thinking about coming down. This is still pretty manageable. Twin Otter is nice in that way. You can really lose speed quickly if you need to. Part of what makes it a really good jump plane, really good bush plane. Is climbing straight up and bleeding speed. And we'll probably call final once we hit Busby. Should give us about a 4-mile final. Alright, so we're locking it in. Ready to take control again. Flying through these clouds, just skirting through these low scattered clouds. Just a little bit of rain our way into Key West. It should not impact your beach going, I don't think, but we will see. A big rain front's coming in later, it looks like. At 2.6 miles from Busby. We can just start thinking a little bit about where we need to be. Prop RPM, full forward. And we'll just start suggesting the idea of bringing the speed back to the airplane. And we've got the cruise ships visiting Key West. So we head now for Busby, 1.5 miles. You can't really quite pick it out, but I believe the runway is just off our nose. And we're flying the RNAV for runway 09 today. As we come up on Busby now, we'll zero out the altitude. And just enter a nice descent. Key West traffic, Twin Otter was on final, 4-mile final to land runway 09, Key West traffic. Alright, so we can punch in vertical speed. We'll start descending about 600 feet per minute. We got the runway right there. We are a bit high. And yeah, looking down is not, to control the rate of descent is not really ideal. I do find that I come in high on Twin Otter descents usually. I'll blame the nature of the airplane, but it's also my piloting skills. We got 3 white, 1 red, which for Twin Otter means we're in the ballpark. We'll go ahead and take control now. Should be about a 1-knot crosswind into 09. We'll just keep an eye on these clouds as they come in. Again, it's kind of sneaky, tricky conditions if you were trying to fly VFR around here today. Scattered clouds have blown in. Hoping for our passengers they blow out shortly. We'll go to 10. We're going to go flaps 10 to 20 today. We're not going to go full flaps. And again, we're shooting now for an approach speed about 80 knots. Even a little faster. Just because we're operating into these larger airports. And we will be okay if we go a little bit faster than 80 knots as our final approach speed. One final, and then the other thing, Twin Otter, the throttle is, it does lag a little bit, and it's easy to put too much in balloon. So, let's just bump it up just a smidge at the runway. We just need that in sight. Keep the airspeed up at about 80 knots. We're still showing 3 white, 1 red. Just a smidge high here on final into Key West International Airport. again, we're a little high and a little slow. We'll let the nose come down and just give a little more power. See there, it's stalling out, so we're just, again, just a little slow. I need a little bit more power without ballooning, which is what the Twin Otter likes to do. If you put in that power real quick and real suddenly. We'll keep it coming downhill. You're doing a little visual approach into Key West. Still showing high. Just again, don't want to let that speed come off. We can afford to let some lose some altitude.
Minimums. 100.
And here we go.
40. 30. 20. 10.
And we'll just let it settle. That's a little bounce. But we are on the ground here in Key West. We'll keep it rolling on down to the next taxiway exit. We'll come off to the right. And get the folks off on their way here in Key West International Airport. So we'll have to see what the damage is there. But yeah, speed management, Twin Otter, it's not a hard plane. Because it's relatively forgiving, I find. If you're a little high or a little low, it'll usually forgive you. Key West traffic, Twin Otter has vacated runway 9, taxiing to terminal. And we'll just go straight across here. Landing lights can come off. We will just kind of pull up here. By the terminal, let the folks out. And, yeah, plan our way into Miami. So here we go. If we want to turn our engines off. Go ahead and turn boost pumps off as well. And finally open up the doors. So, welcome to Miami, or welcome to Key West, Florida, the Conch Republic. We're going to get our folks on their way. Next thing, really, we'll do some fuddling around with this. Just clear it out. And get ready to come into the next... to the next leg. So, Miami International Airport. This is going to be more involved heading into Miami. But let's punch it into... we'll punch it into SimBrief and see what they give us. SimBrief is they're suggesting runway 9 and runway 12, so that's good. And then we're looking really at the Duval. Let's see what it is nowadays. The Duval 3 approach. So we're basically going to fly straight out Key West VOR to the, or even to the Duval approach. Marathon transition ATC applied. And yeah, we're basically going through SimBrief and saying, hey, which ones of these do not have turbojets only on them? So, VPilot, we can fly. Well, we'll have to disconnect real quick to set it up. We are going to fly the return flight as Caribbean 687, still a Twin Otter. And we're just going to swap these out. Fort Lauderdale will be our alternate. And the time is, we'll probably be off the blocks 22:30. And then we're going to go EYW, then Duval 3. Now we still have 800, yeah, we still have about 700 pounds of fuel. That should be more than enough to get us in there. So let's do the fun part here. Fumbling around with the GPS. We are at Key West. Key W. And then we're going to basically fly Key West VOR. KNOP. EY. And it is stuff like this that makes you appreciate an FMS in an airplane. W. And then we'll throw K Miami. Mike India. Alpha. Then it'll be arrivals. Deval 3 is our arrival today. EYW transition. Runway, we're gonna, well, it's gonna say all, so that's fine. And again, EYW is just kind of off to our north. Basically the way we came in. Still a little dark and stormy. Thanks for coming along. Next flight, we're going to be heading out to Miami International Airport. A Deval 3 arrival. We can finish this flight. And let's see what the damage was. Landing rate 132 feet per minute. Not terrible. Okay. Little bounce, but again, Twin Otter, you're just going so slow at the end there. Big bouncy tires. Not surprising. And let's just hit generate and sim brief. And we will get on the road. All right, so we're all set up. We are all filed. And, yeah, we'll get everybody on board and ready to rock on back. We'll put a little bit of fuel back in. We'll go back up to 70%. Which should give us a little bit, about 900 pounds of fuel in both tanks. Alright, so we are back at it. Let's turn off all our lights that don't need to be off. Pitot heat off right now. Generators can come off until we are all set up. No smoking, fasten seatbelt signs can come on. Let's remember to always close your doors as we get on our way. We'll go ahead and get the tug to give us a push, the invisible tug to give us a push out. We'll push back to the right and then start it up on the ramp here. All right, so boost pumps come on. Make sure our lights are all on. We've got prop levers full forward. Go ahead and start right engine. GG rising. Give it some fuel. All ready, give it the left engine. And fuel. Alright, so we are on our way now. We're still on Unicom. Let's just see what the taxiways are named at. Are named here. We're going to be taxiing to runway 09 by Alpha. Disconnect the tug. Key West traffic, Caribbean 687 type Twin Otter, taxiing to runway 09 via Alpha, Key West traffic. Generators coming on. Taxi light can come on as well. Pitot heat coming on, and the rest of this is looking okay for now. Alright, brake is off and in. And we'll just loop it on around. So on departure, we'll have to vector ourselves a little bit. We'll probably fly runway heading, or yeah, we'll probably end up. We might go direct out to Key West, so maybe make a left-hand turn on departure. We will see, and then once we are at EYW, we're going to be basically on the approach. So it'll be probably a little bit of fumbling around with the GPS. We will get there. Cruising altitude, again, 10,000 feet for today. But yeah, we're basically taking off and then shooting the Duval 3 arrival into Miami. So thanks for coming along for more Twin Otter ops. We will take the ILS for runway 0, for runway 12 is what we're going to plan on. And if things change, things change. But thanks for coming along. We are taxiing out now for departure here at Key West International Airport, heading up back to Miami International. It was busy on the ground in Miami when we left. I anticipated it'll still be busy when we get there. But we're kind of basically flying a different route. We're going to come in from the west. We're going to fly basically out over the water more, and then over the southern part of Florida, instead of flying out over the Florida Keys and the islands to the south of Florida. And it is still pretty dark here in Key West, so the folks who are starting their Key West vacations off our plane, well, hopefully they brought a raincoat or something. Alright. Getting ready now. We can go flaps 10 to 20. We will... I don't know why my brakes aren't working. Okay, so we are on Unicom. Squawking VFR. Fuel pumps and everything are on. We can go ahead and turn on our landing lights. Prop RPM full forward. Fuel is on. Heading, we're going to be basically flying runway heading and then flying off. Left, our FMS is in GPS mode, which again should be taking us to the Key West VOR on departure. So that is east. We'll give it some power. Key West traffic. Twin Otter is taking runway 09 for a departure up to the north. Key West traffic. So we'll line up on the center line. One last check, dummy check. Are the doors closed? They appear to be. So power can come up. We're doing again a flaps 10 takeoff. Just a little much. Flaps 10 takeoff. It should just... Whew. We're already rotated. But again, it's important in the Twin Otter not to go flying before you're ready. So even if you start rotating above 60, I would fight the impulse to pull up and get on the way. Alright, so flaps coming up. We'll trim it on out. And then we will go ahead and prepare basically to fly to the EYW VOR. So we'll make our left-hand turn. Key West traffic, Twin Otter departing runway 9, we're clear of the runway, heading direct EYW VOR. Key West traffic. As always, a lesson in radio eloquence. Now at this point, we're just going to basically fly. I'm going to basically fly in heading mode until we get everything sorted out and the arrival all situated. We'll keep our power in. We will not turn on altitude. Until we are ready. Then 2,000, we'll go up to 10,000 feet. And engage vertical speed mode. If we can. And we'll shoot for a climb out about 1,500 feet per minute. Again, just important to not let us get too slow here. Alright, we're calling this move radar vectors. So now to Carnu. And yeah, hopefully it's picking up the arrival. And so long as it is, we can go ahead and let it get to where it needs to go on its own devices. So back to checklist after takeoff. Flaps are up. Auto feather is off. Climb power is set. Landing lights will be cruising about 10,000 feet. And then, yeah, we're not near best rate of climb, but it can't climb like that with the autopilot on anyway. So we are on our way. Now would be a good time to talk about our arrival into Miami, since, well, that's basically what we're going to be doing. So the arrival is going to be the Duval 3. We just passed Key West, EYW. The VOR, we're going now to Carnu, Duval, and looks like then Dolphin. From Dolphin, then we'll head into Miami International Airport. We'll be shooting the ILS runway is 12. So no real altitude restrictions. They give turbojets. Planning to cross 10,000 feet, 250 knots, landing east and landing west 14,000 feet, 250 knots. We'll be at 10,000 feet regardless, because that's our cruising altitude in our prop plane. So again, should have no problem. We'll just have to make sure we stay out of all the big jets' way. Is the key when going into a place like Miami right now. So thanks for coming along. Give us a couple minutes and we'll be back in the sunny Florida sun. Trying to escape rain and snow and all the winter weather with a trip to the Florida Keys. Key West International, we're heading back into Miami, which again tends to be a fairly busy airport on VATSIM. Fairly popular. They've had a few streams of arrivals coming in. So we're now basically capturing the path to Carnu. So next up, we can look at procedures, and we'll go ahead and select our approach. We're going to take the ILS runway 12. And it is saying DHP transition. Do we have any other options? Or Gloria? Oh, we want Gloria. And we'll load the approach. And we'll just give it a look through, make sure that's right. EYW. It is difficult to do this. Carnu, Duval, Weaver, Famine, DHP, Miami. And then Piana, Vepco, runway 12. I thought we said we wanted to go Gloria, but we'll see. That's about 113 nautical miles away. As we climb through a little bit of clouds out of Key West. So, clouds have really built, I think, since the last time we came out. We're coming up, again, mostly more to the north. We were out to the south and east. More on the last flight. But we should capture 10,000 feet here shortly. Again, we are flying under Caribbean 687, if I can remember the flight number, our way back up to Miami. Not super realistic, but it was that or an American Eagle livery, and I wanted to run something a little bit more purplish. And as we capture the capture 10,000 feet, we should be able to put our foot down a little bit. And get on our way. So we'll just go ahead and configure for cruise, put our RPM in the green. And get ready to go. Thanks for coming along today. Here in what is now a cloudy south of Florida. We're going to be over water for more of this flight than we were the last. Then we'll kind of come over the southern tip of Florida and enter into Miami from the west. That procedure just so it doesn't mess anything up. If it's going to give me DHP anyway, let's just do that. So when we left Miami, weather was kind of like this, scattered clouds. We've knocked out wind 160 at 8 knots, gusting to 15 knots, 26 degrees Celsius, altimeter 3013. 10 surface mile visibility, we got a few clouds at 3,000, scattered to 4,500. It's not too different. The wind gusts are a little bit stronger than they were when we left. Alright, so we are in the cruise now. We got about 40 minutes of flying time. I'm going to step away for a brief moment. I'll be right back and enjoy the water. Alright, we are back, and we are still in the air, which is good. We're now about 17 miles from Carnoot. After that, we'll hit another, 20 or 30 to Duval. And at that point, we'll start thinking about how we're going to get down to the ground in Miami. We'll also have to keep an eye on the map and on our V-Pilot, just make sure we're communicating with all the traffic into Miami. Again, it's one of the busier untowered airports you'll fly into if no one's controlling Miami. We're going to be landing on the crossing runway 12, as long as the wind conditions hold for the next half hour or so. And you can see Florida just off our nose coming into view now. We're cruising here at 10,000 feet. Making, well, let's see, a decent 179 knots. Which helps us get on our way. So thanks for coming along today. Again, we're going to Dulles tomorrow to do something. I don't know exactly what format that's going to be in. Probably some more, maybe some more Australia flying. Probably some more Twin Otter flying. And, yeah, we may try some GA stuff too. I'm picking out a good road trip. The tricky part about a road trip or a grand tour type thing is just capturing it and keeping it interesting. But, I mean, there's interesting stuff happening throughout it. Interesting decisions. They're just not necessarily the bang and boom of immediate flying actions. So we will see. So again, we're heading in from Miami International Airport. Basically from the Gulf side almost. Then coming down. Downhill, we're at 10,000 feet, we'll probably come downhill. Let's see what the final altitude is at Miami. We're going to be at 3,000 feet when we get down to Miami. And, yeah, we might basically go... we'll see. We will see how we get on down there. It'll also kind of depend on who all is coming in. Who all is coming into Miami today. Clouds are broken, but yeah, you got another front coming on out of the west. And that's really just the leading edge of the bigger storm. Just kind of moving through the rest of the country. There is some snow, Boston, Maine, yeah. Still some snow over Chicago, it looks like. So it's an interesting night to fly if you're looking for some weather-related challenges. I don't think it's as bad as yesterday, but still may well be interesting. We're about 5 miles from Carnu now. At that point, we'll go to Duval. Again, not a lot of route, no real altitude restrictions. Really, all that's posted on the chart is a speed restriction, or expected altitude and speed for turbojets. I'm sure they want us going as fast as possible. Some of these camera views are weird too. I'm not sure what they're aiming at with this one. Some are cool though. I mean, the wingtip views are always nice, but some of them are a little odd. Getting some engine views. It's not a quiet plane, Twin Otter. Not a quiet plane. But it is good. It is good practice. You just have to be very willing to hand fly it when you're doing something complicated like this. Gotta be ready to hand fly it. Which is a good rule for any plane, really. Even if you're flying airliners on VATSIM, you gotta know how to hand fly it. Coming up on the Florida coast now, we'll be over the mainland. And then it'll be basically a slight right-hand turn. Miami's off in that direction. We cruise on in over the flat Florida. Terrain not a factor, really. Which is, on balance, a good thing. Now, other flights that would be good around here, we'd go out to Naples. Really, you could go out to Fort Lauderdale, anywhere up the East Coast, too. Key West. There's other airports scattered throughout the Florida Keys that you could fly to. Some of them that are pretty interesting. I mean, airliner-wise, you can go just across to Tampa. The regional jet. That's a good question. Jacksonville, probably, from Miami. Atlanta, definitely. But I'd imagine that'd be a fuller plane. So that's good options. Yeah, it's probably, I don't know if it's underrated or rated. But it's an interesting place to fly. Especially to do flights like this, maybe a general aviation flight that's a little bit more laid back. So we do have a couple of friends coming into Miami with us. I count 3 airplanes. We have a Dash 8 north over Fort Myers. I think that's a Dash 8. We had American Airlines 2423, which is a 737-8, coming in from Mexico, basically on level with us. And then we have American 1912, another 737-8, which is probably going to be the first one in. And then there are a few more coming downhill. I think these are for Fort Lauderdale. So we shouldn't be alone. It's coming into Miami. We'll just, have to make sure we deconflict with the big jets because we're a small twin prop plane. They can run us over if they want to. Just making sure everything's typed up in vPilot, ready to go. As we get a little bit closer, once we really hit Duval, I think that's when we'll start broadcasting. Hey, we're here. Don't hit us, please. So at Duval, we make a right-handed turn closer into Dolphin. We'll probably go. Well, we'll have to see what happens. We'll go direct. Instead of going all the way to DHP, we might just go to one of the initial approach fixes. Creatively vector ourselves. As we cross over into Florida now.
Miami traffic, American 2423, descend maintain flight level 020. ILS Zulu runway 12.
So there's the radio call from the first one. Those 2423, they're basically behind us and to our right. They should overtake us without much problem. They're going probably twice our speed. So they will beat us in, and this other jet will beat us into American 1912. We'll just let them know we're here, but they're going to overtake us about now. We might be able to see them even. We'll see. So that's American 2423. American 1912 is at 10,000 feet. They're about to hit final now. The interesting one will be the that Dash 8 going 300 knots. Yeah, we'll see about that one. About 8 miles from Duval now. We'll make a right turn to Famine. And then we'll start thinking about coming down and start thinking about planning our descent. 5 miles now to Duval. It looks like there are 3 other airplanes on the ground. They may be departing. We'll have to keep an eye on that too as we come on downhill. Still making about 180 knots, which is pretty good. Moving at a good clip. About 2 miles to Duval. And now we're moving over to Weaver, then Famine, on down. Another 10 to 20 miles, and then we'll be descending basically straight in for the Dolphin VOR. Once we're coming downhill at the Dolphin VOR, we'll start to think about how we're going to get to our final approach. If we look at the flight plan, Dolphin basically takes us almost to the runway, and then we kind of have to back out. So I'd really like to go direct Gloria if we can, just because we're coming in from that way already. But we shall see. So it should be an interesting approach. And again, we'll just try and dodge the big jets on their way in. So 1912 is now passing through. Is now really turning to get onto final. And 2423 is also heading that way. So we will probably lose the race in, but that's okay. So if we go procedures, let's just select the approach we really want. Gloria load. Then that should get rid of that. There, and it does, yeah. That puts us down to Piana at 3,000 feet. So one thing, just in case, I'm going to go ahead and get GLRIA punched in GL. Just in case we need it, it's there. Getting ready, we're going to head into the ILS runway 12. We're probably number 3 to land at this point, maybe number 4 by the time we get down. And we're about to pass Famine now. Getting hit with some wind. Now I will, at this point, once we cross Famine, I'm going to just put it into heading hold mode. We'll fly towards DHP until we figure out, you know, exactly where we're going to go. We'll probably go closer to that descend down maybe 5,000 feet. And then come on in. We're about 10 minutes.
Hey, Miami traffic, American
Out
9
now.
South final, runway 12, 2 miles out.
So we'll go ahead and give ourselves 5,000 feet for the first descent. We'll say, hey, Caribbean, what are we? 687, descend, maintain 5,000 feet. So we'll take it on down to 5,000. At this point, we don't really need that aggressive of a descent. We've got some room, but we're coming in now on Miami. And at this point, we can also throw it, I'll throw it in heading mode. That way, we're not, if we change something here and it doesn't like what we're doing, it doesn't throw us all over the place. So now my flight plan, I would love to basically clear that out and then go into the approach at Piana, which I think is what we're going to do. We'll punch in Gloria direct. And make sure that our CDI is looking in the right direction. It is. So now we can hit that button. The other thing to look out for is going to be traffic into Fort Lauderdale. Not that we should see a lot of it from the south.
423 on final runway 1.
But that's the first big jet coming into final now. We're going to go ahead and direct Gloria. And then once we get off of that, we can activate the approach. So 5,000 feet at Glory, we're going to be at 3,000 feet. And then we'll just take it on down to the runway from there. Same deals at Key West. We are going to just try and, well, basically keep our speed up, most likely. With other traffic coming in. I think that'll be the most important thing. And you can see Miami off to our, just about to our right.
Thank you.
We'll keep coming downhill to 5,000. We'll stay at 5,000 really till we get closer to Gloria, and then we'll hit down to our final altitude at 3,000. So now for our descent, landing lights are on. Proper RPM will go full forward. We've got, we're squawking VFR, we're on Unicom, we're talking to them, we can hear them, the traffic in the area. Heat is on, everything is on that needs to be on, seatbelt signs are on. As we're making our descent. Ready for okay. So we're going to keep it on. Coming downhill. It is going to be close with this it's DH-8. But we will do our best. Alright, so we're about 10 miles now from Gloria. Gloria, we're going to take a right-hand turn, and then it'll take us down to Miami International Airport. But you can actually just see we're coming into the crossing runway. Runway 12. We got some fresh winds. Miami. We're showing now 150 at 9 knots, gusting to 16. Altimeter 3014.
Miami traffic, Dash 8, 57 Bravo, 30 miles to the west, 7,800 descending for the ILS, 8 right, Miami.
Oh, he's coming in on 8. He's coming in 8 right. So, you know, we might just let him go. I would be slightly concerned about that. Not that 8 right is not crossing 12 actually at Miami, so that would be fine. Just want to make sure we're clear of his path into Miami.
Yeah, Miami traffic, Dash 857 Bravo, we got the Caribbean 687 Twin Otter in sight, Miami.
Well, he's got us, that's a good thing. We don't have him. Yeah, no joy on him, but that's okay. As long as he sees us.
Miami traffic, American Support 23, taxi via Victor Foxtrot.
Alright, so we're here at 5,000 feet. We're going to go ahead and continue our descent down to 3,000. And this one will really punch it. And then let's just make sure we're at IGM. It's the localizer. So that'll be about a 16-mile final for the runway. Miami traffic. Caribbean 687, we're descending through 4,400 for 3,000. Direct Gloria ILS runway 12. We see the Dash 8 on the map.
Miami traffic, the Hat 157 Bravo, 15 miles out for the ILS 8 right, we got the Twin Otter in sight, Miami. Should be no problem.
So yeah, no joy in him, but he's going to beat us there, almost certainly. So there's no rush to get down. And then, yeah, we just want to deconflict as much as possible. That Dash 8 can move, man, for another twin turboprop. They're booking it, 15 miles out.
Fort Lauderdale traffic, Delta 1041 is 5.5 miles from Keys, and it will be inbound to the ILS left, Fort Lauderdale traffic.
Alright, so we are now making our turn, looking for VEPCO, which will set us up on the ILS. Now we can come to just back to our final approach speed at this point, which will be 80 knots. Which again should be more than sufficient to let them. It should be more than sufficient to let that Dash 8 get in before us. It is. And then we'll just keep an eye out. I can't see him, but we will just keep an eye out. And we'll keep the speed above 100 just to stop the airplane from trying to trim itself into the ground. And, well, I got some traffic in sight now. That's a TBM, it looks like. Well, maybe a TBM. And then if it's looking too much, if it's not happening, we'll go ahead and do a left 360 at Vepco. I really just need to see them first. At this point. Oh, there he is. Got him. So he's still running 200 knots. It's close. We're on about a 10-mile final now. And then 8 right, I mean, if we came down onto 8
Fort Lauderdale
right.
traffic, it's Delta 1403, 11 mile final, ILS 10 left, Fort Lauderdale.
It would be a little, it wouldn't be good airmanship, let's just say that. They're still showing going at 197 knots. So what I'm going to do, yeah, not loving it. We're going to go ahead and do a left 360 here. And then, yeah, from there we'll reestablish on the approach. Maybe not. If we can pull it back just a smidge. He's coming back on 8 right. So if we hold it, it might be okay. Because we can see him just off our nose here. I believe they're past us at this point. Yep, there they are. So we'll be coming in basically right after them. We're at Vepco. I'm not flying my chart either. Too focused on controlling. We should be at like 2,000 feet right now. So hit approach. It's got the glide slope apparently. Miami traffic, Caribbean 687. We're on a 6-mile final runway 12. We got the Dash 8 in sight. Alright, so we'll let the airplane fly us down and fix my mistakes. Obviously, it's down to 1,900 now. And again, just looking at speed. I don't love flying the Otter at real low speeds. Doesn't like it in autopilot, so we'll just get onto the ground here as we make the final approach into Miami, runway 1 right. It was close. You think it's a big sky, big, lots of space, hard to hit another airplane, but these approaches can get timed kind of,
Fort Lauderdale traffic, Delta 1403, short final 10 left, Fort Lauderdale.
So there's the Dash 8 coming in. We can now start to think about our own plans. We'll do another flaps 10. Yeah, we'll do another flaps 10 landing here. We got plenty of runway, and then we'll be off to the left to get to our gate. So thanks for coming along. We are on final here to land in Miami, coming out from Key West. We did an out and back, good sector. I think this is a fun sector if you're looking for something to fly in the Twin Otter. Caribbean Airlines probably not the most realistic choice, but they got purple and it's a fun color scheme. It's just a little bit different than our usual American fare. Seems appropriate. And of course, delivery available, flightsim.co. We are on final now. We're flying approach mode here. Running the ILS for runway 9, or runway 12.
Miami traffic, Dash 8, 57 Bravo, we're clear of 8 right, we're taxiing to the GA on the north side, Miami.
So it's telling me glide slope. We got 2 white, 2 red, so the airplane's doing all right. Hopefully that's not a warning. Hopefully that's just telling me it's got the glide slope. But it looks okay now. We're looking pretty good. We're about 95 knots, which again, not horrible for what we're doing. We did lose the race. We were last of all those planes coming into Miami. Not surprising. Dash 8 would be fun. I would love to see a Dash 8 in flight sim. So we're getting a little low at this point. Little low. As we come in, 90 knots. Just a little more power, but not too much. Again, it's easy to balloon this thing. We'll go ahead and take control now. And just make sure we're trimming it out. 2 white, 2 red. We're looking good. Runway looks good. And just bump up just a smidge. So we're just coming a little high now. 90 knots. Pretty good. Again, we're coming into big runway, no reason to really ride the stall limit. Those are minimums. That is runway 12. Yeah, I mean, bigger planes can land and can take on that crosswind, but I'm just trying to. I'll take the best runway I can get. So that's runway 12. We're coming down now.
50, 40, 30.
It's getting a little slow here at the end. We'll go all the way off now. And just touch it down. All right, so we're down runway 12. We'll come off here. And we'll see where we're at. Okay, so Miami International Airport. We are going to be basically coming off 12 via Quebec. Yeah, we're going to taxi via Quebec, maybe Sierra, or maybe Uniform. Yeah. Miami traffic, Caribbean 687, we vacated runway 12, taxiing to gates via Quebec. Miami traffic.
1041, base to final, runway 10 left, 4 water down.
Alright, landing lights come off, flaps coming up. And welcome everybody to Miami, back to Miami. Much sunnier here than when we left. As we taxi onto our gate. So thanks for coming along today, and appreciate you all watching. we'll have some more fun Twin Otter action and other fun flights that we are working on throughout the next few weeks. I think it's a really fun time for Flight Sim. We've got some cool stuff around the corner. We've got some cool stuff in our hands. It's yeah, it's a really good time here for Flight Sim 2020. And yeah, it's been a VATSIM flight. We've been doing VATSIM velocity. We haven't seen a ton of that, but you know, we did see a very nice race with another airplane. Got to ID the traffic, so lots of cool stuff going on. And yeah, it's been a good flight. Let's get out our taxiway diagram. We're just going to take Quebec all the way down to the end. Basically till we hit Gulf. It's kind of some of these landings, which is humorous. All right. All right, welcome into Miami, everybody. We're going to shut down the engines, get the doors open, and get our folks off. Thanks for coming along on another fun Twin Otter flight. We did some VATSIM, we raced a Dash 8 and lost, and that happens. We'll get the doors open for everybody. So thanks for coming along.